Right.
So there was a couple houses that I thought were really nice.
Yeah.
And then I applied and they said, oh, no foreigners, sorry.
Right.
So is the people,
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest difference. You know, they're a lot more, maybe it's because it's towards foreigners, just a bit more reserved.
Yeah.
You know, they're not as willing to say hello when you're walking down the street.
Right.
But also that kind of bitterness of leaving family and friends behind.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because I don't know anyone in Japan
Yeah.
before I came here. And I feel like the key to
Yeah.
finding friends in Japan is to just do stuff that you enjoy. You know,
Right.
if you don't know Japanese, I don't know how it's going to be for you.
Thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, so before we begin, could you please introduce yourself and give a background of who you are?
No worries. So my name's Shane Toomey. I was born and raised in Australia,
Yeah.
and 2 years ago I moved to Japan and have been studying at Yokohama National University for the past year. pretty
Right.
much, Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty much I want to ask you why you moved to Japan.
Yeah.
But before we begin, I want to ask you, what's it like growing in Australia, man?
What's up? Man, Australia's a beautiful country. So I was born and raised in Melbourne, which is in the bottom part of Australia.
Yeah.
So the summer isn't too hot, not as hot as up in the north, so not like the Gold Coast, but still really nice summers.
Right.
Winters get decently cold, no snow though. So I only saw snow for the first time when I moved to Japan 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, but before that, no snow, but it was really nice. Really lots of nature, beautiful.
Yeah.
Big fan of Australia.
Yeah. Could you also introduce yourself in Japanese?
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
So, トゥーミーシェーンと申します。オーストラリア生まれ育ちのオーストラリア人で、今横浜国立大学で経済学を勉強しています。よろしくお願いします。
Okay. Also, by the way, how long did it take for you to learn Japanese? Because, you know, what level are you in right now?
Yeah, so I've taken like the N1 and I
Yeah.
have managed to pass that. I passed that after about like a year and a half, 2 years of study.
Yeah.
So, and then when I came to Japan, I'd already been studying for, it was just about 2 years
Right.
at that point. And then I got a lot better. When I came, even though I had N1, that
Yeah.
speaking wasn't really there yet.
Right.
So I was not very good at speaking.
Yeah.
But after about a year, I started to feel pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
like,
Just
speaking
1
to
year
friends.
living in Japan.
Yeah. Took me about a year to get comfortable speaking.
Bloody
Yeah.
hell, that's very quick.
I still get nervous.
Yeah.
So with English, I'm less likely to get nervous and
Yeah.
stutter. I still do stutter in English,
Yeah.
but in Japanese, it can be quite a bit worse.
Yeah.
Like giving a presentation, I'll make a lot more mistakes
Yeah.
than I would in English. And meeting new people, you know, I want to try and impress them.
Yeah.
And that kind of backfires, and I end
Right.
up stuffing up.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But good stuff. 1 year, that's pretty quick. So, okay, with that being said, like, how long did you spend your life in Australia before you moved to Japan?
Yeah, that was pretty much my whole life. So 19 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
2002 to 2022. 19
Yeah.
years. Yeah.
So how old are you now?
21.
Can you imagine that, guys? This guy's a massive lad. Yeah, so, growing up, you know, did you finish your studies back in Australia before you came here to Japan?
Yeah. So I graduated high school.
Yeah.
And did all right. Not like crazy good, but got decent grades. And
Yeah.
I got into a university in Australia, but it wasn't really the course for me. So I
Right.
spent 1 year at university in Australia before finding out about this program where you could come to Japan basically under the government's money. So
It's like a government
scholarship. Yeah. So the government scholar is what they're called. And if you're in Australia,
Yeah.
I recommend going for it because it's really easy as an
Yeah.
Australian. Yeah,
Really?
there was like 5 people in the testing room.
Yeah.
There was no
Oh,
one there.
5 people, including yourself?
including me.
Yeah.
Including me, it's 5 people, and it's quite easy to get.
Yeah.
But in Australia, very low competition.
Yeah.
So I went for this, and then left my university in Australia to come
Right.
here and study
Yeah.
back to Grand.
So, like, apart from that government scholarship, why did you choose Japan? You
Yeah.
know, like, Australia is a beautiful country. in
Yeah,
and of itself
Australia's a beautiful
already,
country. So it's really difficult, but one of the main reasons that I
Yeah.
chose Japan was because I wanted to use this Japanese that I've been learning.
Right.
So when I was in about year 11 in Australia, which is, you know, I was around 16, 17,
Yeah.
I started studying Japanese pretty hardcore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I found this method. I was basically studying for my grades at school.
Yeah.
And,
in Australian school?
Yep, in Australian
Yeah.
school. We had Japanese classes, and
sweet.
we had a pick from Japanese or German, the school I was at.
Yeah.
And so I picked Japanese,
Yeah.
and I continued with it up until my final year of high school.
Right.
So during that final year, I really wanted to go hard and get
Yeah.
good grades. So I found this method of learning Japanese.
Yeah.
It was called AJAP. I don't know if anyone's heard of it. All Japanese all the time
Yeah.
was what it was called. Yeah. And some bloke called Katsumoto had written
Yeah.
this. You can still find it. It's still up on the
Yeah.
internet somewhere. It's a bit of a read. It's a bit of a. You don't know if the guy's all there when
Yeah.
you're reading his post, but
Right.
but yeah. So basically did that, and I
Yeah.
wanted to use it. So
Right.
I spent 2 years studying with this method.
Yeah.
Got pretty good, but no place to really utilize that
Right.
Japanese. So I found about the government scholarship program,
Yeah.
and I went for it.
Right.
Yeah.
So what was the process like for you to apply for that scholarship?
Yeah, so it's a pretty long process.
Yeah.
It's a long waiting period. So I applied halfway through my first year of school in Australia, of
Yeah.
university in Australia. It was about, around June, you apply. And then once you apply in June, you've got the test at the end of June. And then you don't hear the results until December or January.
So basically the whole year.
Yeah, so you basically wait a whole year
Yeah.
to see if you got in or not. Then, I got the news in December that I didn't think I'd got in because, I didn't do that crazy good on the
Right,
test or anything. And then I got the news in December. I remember, I was at the gym. I was just
Yeah.
about to hit, I just started going to the gym at that
Yeah.
time. I was just about to hit a session with one of my mates and I got the call. It's
Yeah.
like, you're going to be going to Japan in 3 months.
3 months time, yeah.
And there we go. We
Yeah.
were off. And
Yeah.
I was like, man, that was very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great phone call to
So
receive.
I'm pretty sure you were excited when you got that news. So like, talk us through like your process of moving to Japan. How did you feel, man?
Yeah, so it was really, it was a bit bittersweet.
Yeah.
Because I was leaving a lot of friends and family
Right.
back home in Australia, but at the same time, I was really excited to.
Yeah.
Mainly, a big thing for me was gaining that independence
Right.
of living alone and learning how to basically function as an
Yeah.
adult. So that was really big for me. Yeah,
Right,
gaining
yeah.
that independence but also that kind of bitterness of leaving family and friends behind.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because I don't know anyone in Japan
Yeah.
before I came here.
Before
no friends.
you came here, was it difficult? Like your first few months here?
Yeah, so to be honest, it wasn't that difficult just
Yeah.
because of the support system that the
Right.
government scholars receive. So we really do get it quite good over here. Someone picks you up from the airport, they basically do all your paperwork for
Right.
you, like the starting preliminary paperwork, they
Yeah.
get it all done. And then you're moving into a dorm with a bunch of people in the same position as you.
Yeah.
So they've all just moved to Japan as well.
Left all
So-
their family and
Yeah, exactly. So you meet a few characters, there's people who are willing to just freaking up and go. There's some strange units in there, but
Yeah.
it's good fun. Yeah. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, bloody good stuff. So, how long have you been here? It's about 3-4 years now, right?
Yeah, just coming up on my third year. So I've been in Japan for 2 years. I
Yeah.
came in 2020 and it was, what was it? May of 2022. May of 2022 I came here. So I just finished my second year in Japan. Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna backtrack a bit now.
Yeah.
When you came to Japan, what were some of the culture shocks you experienced coming from Australia?
Yeah, so to be honest, when you're growing up in a Japanese family might be
Yeah.
different, but when you're living by yourself, there isn't too much that's different, I
Yeah.
felt. So I actually felt that it was pretty similar to Australia in terms of, the ease of which you can
Yeah.
get food and living and
Right.
all of that. Probably the biggest difference is the people. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably the biggest difference. They're a lot more, maybe it's because it's towards foreigners, just a bit more reserved.
Yeah.
They're not as willing to say hello when you're walking down the street.
Right.
If you say hello first, they'll 100% say hello back there. That's the thing.
It warms them up.
Yeah. It warms them up. It
Yeah.
warms them up. If you walk down a street in Australia or
Yeah.
America, you'll kind of see what people are thinking if they've
Yeah.
kind of got it on their face. But in Japan, like you were just saying
Yeah.
before, they've got a bit of a poker face over here. But
Kind of have to decipher it.
yeah. You gotta say, what are these? What's this bloke thinking? But
Yeah.
if you speak to them, they'll be pretty happy to speak back to
Yeah.
you. So that was probably a bit difficult for me, like having to speak first.
Right.
In Australia, I was often I wasn't that outgoing.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of gain that outgoingness a little bit to really feel more at home.
Definitely.
I think. Yeah.
So like, you yourself looking like a foreigner, I mean,
Yeah,
you're-
very
no
foreign.
offense, you look like a very white guy,
Yeah, that is
Did you experience any kind of racism here in Japan?
Yeah, not really. None that I
Yeah.
can say. So to an extent, if you don't have a Japanese passport, there'll be like a little bit. So the first time I really felt it was when I was applying for housing.
Right.
So there was a couple houses that I thought were really nice.
Yeah.
And then I applied and they said, oh, no foreigners, sorry.
Right.
So, but aside from that, I've never felt any racism, like talking to peers or
Right.
interacting with people on a day-to-day level. You don't really feel anything.
Yeah.
But there is that applying to housing, which is a bit difficult.
Yeah.
And also I've heard, I don't really go out too much, so I'm not sure about this, but
Yeah.
I've heard going to bars, sometimes
Yeah.
they won't let you in
Really?
if you're a foreigner.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have heard that.
Yeah.
But I've never experienced that
Yeah.
myself, so I can't
Right.
speak
Yeah.
to that. Yeah.
Thankfully, you gave me a heads up because I've been going out a lot, and thankfully, no one's
No one
told
said
me you can't go in yet.
All right, that's good.
Maybe
that's
if
good.
I tomfool around too much more, but I
Yeah.
hope it doesn't get to that. But
Yeah.
okay, moving forward from here on out, I mean, are you happy? You have any regrets moving to Japan?
Yeah, no regrets, honestly.
Yeah.
It was a great decision, And one of the big reasons for that is just how good the government scholarship program is. So really, if you have the opportunity to go for it, you're not enjoying uni in your current country, I recommend going for it. Most countries, it's kind of ridiculous how easy it is to get, honestly. If you just know a little bit of Japanese, you can get it basically.
At least N4 level, N3?
Yeah. N4, N3, and then like a little bit of maths. If you look at the test, they've got tests online, so you can have a look.
Right.
I really do. I recommend it. It's a great program, and the support communities. It's ridiculously good. Yeah.
And I've met some of the people that actually took scholarships here. There's people from Australia, people from the Philippines, some from like Uzbekistan.
Yeah,
and,
they're
like,
all over the place.
They're all over the place. So if you love diversity, come to Japan.
Yeah. Especially as a government scholar.
And since you're a government scholar, you kind of basically, your school is paid for, you get allowance. So how much is that looking like, your allowance from the government?
So the allowance from the government is 120,000 yen a month, which is about, like, in USD, it would probably be around like 900 USD a month.
900.
Yeah, 800-900. Because it's starting. That's one of the bad things about Japan. The economy has been falling a little bit recently, so maybe it's not a good idea to come.
I mean, if you come in, maybe then you can help the local, economy. But
maybe
if
you
you're
can
a
help
foreigner, it's good for you, bad for us. But we're still welcoming you in. Just don't do anything crazy.
That's true, man. But so the economy has been taking a bit of a hit recently, but other than that. Just about 800, 900 a month. Very, very livable. You can easily live off it if you try hard.
Now, on a personal note, I want to find out, did you have a difficult time finding friends in Japan?
Personally, I haven't had any difficulty finding friends. And I feel like the key to finding friends in Japan is to just do stuff that you enjoy. You've got to go to places where it's like unforced. And repeated interaction. I feel like, so places like a gym, that's what I kind of enjoy going to.
That's where I met Shane as well.
Yeah, exactly. So you meet all types of people in the gym, but there's not just the gym. Like if you like soccer, a lot of people play soccer over here, so joining a soccer team. Even Australian football. They have Australian football over here. Yeah. It's very small, but there are people playing Australian football, so I did that a bit. Made a few friends there. And where else, You can go down to the local, like the gymnasiums where you can just play basketball.
It's free.
Yeah. Oh, it's not free there. Not free there. It's like around. It's very cheap, like 200, 300 yen.
Oh.
Which like USD is like $1 or $2. Yeah. Very cheap.
Yeah.
So you can go down there, and if you go down there every week, you'll see the same faces, and you'll make some good friends there. And obviously, university, you've got classes with everyone, so
you can just basically be mates with everyone.
Yeah, exactly. University makes it easy, I think.
Again, it's also a personal question what I want to ask you next, but
go ahead.
Have you dated in Japan?
I have.
What's it like dating you then?
Yeah, it's not too different from Australia, actually.
Really?
I haven't felt that much of a difference, culturally. I feel like recently it's starting with the younger generation, everyone's starting to use the internet a bit more. So it's starting to get a bit more homogenized how the younger generation are. And to be honest, I only have experience dating Asian women, so maybe that's why it's similar. But so currently I have a Japanese girlfriend, and we've been dating for about a year and a half now. So going steady, pretty
Can you tell us how you guys met?
So we met on Hello Talk, which is it's basically a dating app.
The language app. Right?
It's an app to learn language.
Language.
I wasn't really there. I wasn't there to learn Japanese. I was there to meet some interesting people. Mainly females I was interested in dating. So I basically found this nice girl, and we met up. We went for lunch. And we just really hit it off. And we've been going out ever since.
Going strong ever since.
Yeah, going strong. That's it.
Hate to break it to you guys, this guy's taken now.
That's it.
So to wrap up now, I guess, to those, people out there that's looking to date in Japan, what advice would you give to them?
Biggest thing, honestly, I can't speak for everyone, just because if you don't know Japanese, I don't know how it's going to be for you. I've heard that some people can make it work, and I've met some Aussies who are no Japanese, and they've got a nice Japanese family with a Japanese wife. But I think if you really want to make a connection with someone, you should make an effort to learn the language to the best of your abilities. And one thing that I can say, the better I've gotten at Japanese, the better my relationships with those around me have gotten as well. So if you're living in Japan, definitely try to get your Japanese as good as you can. It's so worth it, in my opinion.
And what he's saying is true, guys. Before shooting this video, everyone's like dapping him up and like, oh, Shane-san, he's such a popular kid here, But with that being said, now that we've highlighted everything good about Japan, did you have any horror stories living here?
Any horror stories?
Yeah.
Let me have a think. To be honest, I don't have any horror stories.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I really.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I do tend to keep to myself and only go to places that I know I'll enjoy.
Yeah.
But I have heard of people, going to Shibuya and places
Yeah.
like this, and there can be, a bit of a darker side. Not
Yeah.
really a darker side, but not as clean as the rest of Japan. You know?
Right,
And
yeah.
you might be. I've heard of stories of people getting drugged and
Right.
stolen like a lot of money
Yeah.
from them in these places in Shibuya. I've never had this happen to
Yeah.
me, mainly because I don't go to Shibuya
Yeah.
very often. But
But then again, like every country has that, so
yeah, so you just got to be careful. If you're
Yeah.
vigilant and you're careful who you talk to,
yeah.
I think you won't really have any
Yeah.
major mishaps
Right.
in Japan. Yeah.
So being here for, a long time, do you have any pet peeves about Japan or the Japanese
Pet peeves?
people? Yeah.
I've got to say the biggest one is
Yeah.
the milk.
The milk.
Yeah, the milk. So they have delicious milk, right?
Yeah.
And then when it comes to flavored milk, they just completely drop the ball. It's absolutely ridiculous how bad the milk
Yeah.
is. So that is probably my biggest pet peeve.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe that's a future business idea, man.
Yeah,
Get some
maybe,
good,
yeah.
good chocolate milk, some good strawberry
Yep.
milk into this country
Yeah.
because they need it.
Yep.
This is why they're losing to Germany at the moment in the economics.
We're focusing
Japan
too
economy.
much on software. That's why. Forgetting the
Mate,
basics.
they're getting good chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, what's some other pet peeves I'd have with Japan? Maybe it would be nice if people were a little bit more outgoing.
Right.
And sometimes it does kind of annoy me when people
Yeah.
try to speak to me in English as
Right,
well.
yeah.
But that's to be expected,
I mean, yeah. You look
When
more
I'm-
foreign than I
when
do,
I'm looking like this, But other than that, if you speak Japanese to them a bit, they'll
Yeah.
eventually give up.
Yeah, right,
That's what
yeah.
I've found. That's what I've found.
yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect stuff. So, to those who are looking to visit Japan or move to Japan, what advice would you give to the viewers out there?
Yeah, I recommend just go for it,
Yeah.
Big thing, get your Japanese studies happening. If you don't like studying Japanese, I think it might be, maybe question why you want to go to Japan.
Yeah.
But if you do like studying Japanese, you love the language, and you want to know more about the country, because it's very hard to meet Japanese
Yeah.
people outside of Japan. Before I came, I'd only met like 2 or 3 in my
like in
life.
Australia,
Yeah, that was
yeah.
2 or 3, and they were both teachers.
Yeah.
So, if you want to know more about Japan, you're learning the language, and you're excited to visit the country,
Yeah.
I reckon go for it. A holiday. Even if you don't learn any Japanese, a holiday,
Yeah.
it's great to come for a holiday.
Right, yeah.
I've had tons of friends who they don't know any Japanese, but they just like the culture.
Yeah.
And they come for a holiday and they love it here.
Yeah.
So yeah. But if you
knows,
wanna-
they might move in the next 5-10 years. you
yeah,
know?
who knows?
yeah.
Who knows? Maybe. So yeah, I recommend just
Yeah.
go for it.
So
Yeah.
for you, Shane, what's the plan from here on out? After you graduate, do you plan to live in Japan? You want to move back to
Yeah.
Australia?
I reckon, I'm not sure,
Yeah.
to be honest. I'm still thinking about that. For tax purposes, I probably would like to remain as a resident in Japan, just
Yeah.
so I can like come and go
Right.
as I please.
Yeah.
But the ideal situation would be to basically get a business visa
Right.
and then graduate and start my own like small business in Japan
Yeah.
that I could operate online.
Right.
And if I was able to achieve that, then I could basically come and go to Japan
And Australia.
Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I love both countries.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to choose
Yeah.
between one or the other. I want to be able to visit family
Yeah.
in Australia and enjoy the lovely
Yeah.
Australian sunsets and
Yeah.
Australian beaches, and then I'd love to come to Japan and enjoy the great Japanese
Yeah.
food and all of my great friends here.
Yeah.
So
And then maybe visit your girlfriend here.
yeah,
maybe bring
exactly.
her to Australia.
Who
you know?
knows? Yeah, maybe we'll be living in Australia in the
Yeah.
next few years. Just
And
gotta
also,
see.
you told me off camera that you don't want just your Japanese skills to go out the bin,
what's this?
You don't want your Japanese skills to go out the bin.
100%. Yeah, no, I've got to be careful. I want to keep them sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah. I put all this effort into learning the language. I don't
Yeah.
want to lose it after I
Yeah.
graduate. So,
Perfect stuff. So, to those who want to learn Japanese out there, what's the advice you would give to them?
the advice I would recommend: find a learning method that is enjoyable for you. So,
Not the Katsumoto route.
if you're into that, I'm telling you, that's probably the quickest way.
Yeah.
But it can be daunting, and it
Yeah.
is a lot of time. It's going to take you a lot of time.
Yeah.
That's one thing with Japanese. You can't get good overnight. It's going to take many years of listening and
Yeah.
reading, and then once you've done all that listening and reading, you've got to try and actualize that potential that you've created. So you're listening, you're reading, and then you've got to start speaking and interacting with the culture and writing by yourself and that. So, yeah, that's
Okay.
what I would recommend.
Perfect stuff. We're gonna wrap up now by me asking you some quick fire questions.
Go ahead.
You have to answer them as honest as possible.
Yeah.
As fast as possible.
All right.
No filter as much as possible.
No filter. Let's go.
Okay. First quick fire question.
Hit me.
Australia or Japan?
Australia.
Ooh. Australian food, Japanese food.
Japanese food.
Oh, really?
Japanese food, 100%.
Aussie people, Japanese people.
Aussie people.
Australian women, Japanese women.
Japanese women.
Everything's Japanese. Kangaroos or crows?
Kangaroos, man. That's not even close. Crows are the worst.
Yeah. What's your favorite Japanese food?
Ramen.
Ramen. What kind of ramen?
Definitely miso.
Miso
ramen. Miso ramen.
Okay. Sushi or ramen?
Ramen.
Fish and chips or ramen?
Ramen. Definitely ramen. Fish and chips
Yeah.
is good though. I do
Yeah.
like myself some fish and chips.
Yeah. Japanese language, English language.
Japanese language.
Damn.
Yeah.
I can't crack the code, guys. Come on, you gotta list some questions down below. Okay. Australian school, Japanese school.
Australian school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Australian school is definitely. I reckon the culture in Australian school is way better than the culture here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think it's way more rowdy,
Yeah.
way more fun.
One thing you love about Japan.
One thing I love about Japan. The girls. Japanese girls. Yeah,
One thing you hate about Japan.
the girls.
You love and hate
You
them at
gotta
the
love and
same
hate it, man.
time.
You love and hate it.
One thing you love about Australia.
Australia, the people.
One thing you hate about Australia.
One thing I hate about Australia. Gotta be the people again. The people again.
Everything is love-hate, yeah.
It's a love-hate relationship. Man.
Yeah. Okay, but with that being said, as we wrap up, do you have any last words out there to your fans at this point?
I'd say, I don't know if they're fans, but anyone who's thinking about going overseas and you've been studying the language of that country a little bit, 100% go for it.
Yeah.
Even if you haven't been studying the language, I've had tons of friends who have
Yeah.
gone for trips overseas or they've done like an exchange program, and everyone says they've loved it.
Yeah.
So I'd recommend go for it. You get
Yeah.
independence, you get to learn new cultures, and I feel like you really grow as a person.
Yeah.
So no, I love it.
Take it from him. I moved to Japan like a month ago with basically like zero Japanese. I'm still learning again. Like I come to a country, I got to adjust to them. But take it from him. I've been loving it. Made a lot of friends. Mixed
man.
cultures from East Asia,
Yeah.
Southeast Asia, Europe, Central Asia, everywhere. You're gonna love it.
Yeah, it's great.
So Shane, could you also say one last thing to the viewers out there in Japanese?
No worries.
Yeah.
じゃあ今まで何を言えばいい？もう一回お願いします。
Oh, okay,
もう一回
okay,
let's
yeah,
go
yeah.
one more time. What should I say? Let's just have a think.
We put him on the spot, guys.
Yeah, I'm stuffing up, man. I'm stuffing up.
Yeah.
じゃあこの動画を見てくれてありがとうございます。これからも絶対その豊かのタカレビューのチャンネルを登録して登録をお願いいたします。ちょっとめっちゃ間違えたんですけど今。
大丈夫大丈夫大丈夫。
まあちょっと緊張してね。やっぱり日本語はまだまだです。
なるほど。
ありがとうございます。
はい。So Shane さんありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。いいっすね。
Good shit.
Man, I freaking stuffed up that end so bad, man. I was like, what should I say?